Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Osborne. Now, I'm sorry I'm taking so long to get these videos out. I'm falling behind. I mean, with I add the viewer replays I have to do, then my own content, then I'm grinding my own ships. I have enough content that I did once a day. I would have more than enough to make it out, at least until November. So we're falling behind a little. Now, as far as the game, let's get into Osborne for you real quick. For the gameplay you're going to see, I don't have the economic package, but this is what a standard economic package looks like now. If you take minus 5% for my personal merits and all that kind of stuff, then it drops down even significant. The fact that I still have that military month contributor flag, that's why it's a little bit extra for me, which doesn't seem like a lot. But it's a pretty significant amount over time. Upgrade-wise, we are running main armaments 1, engine room, steering gear, or aiming systems, then steering gears, then concealment. Consumables, this is really where the ship really shines. It does get engine boost. Now, let me just go over the speed before I get into the consumables for you. You're doing about 35 knots. Now, when you look at Sherman with a speed flag, that's 35.6. So you're doing basically Sherman speed. And with an engine boost, we all know Sherman's a pretty slow destroyer. It's a very slow destroyer, absolutely. So this one is also very slow. You're going to struggle to get from point A to point B fast. So you've really got to really think your actions ahead. Like, how am I going to do this? It's kind of like if you were to watch my Maerker video again. Maerker, or the Maerker, is basically a tier 8 German cruiser. Is a DD. As like I titled it, a DD in disguise. This thing is basically a cruiser in disguise, basically. But the main gimmick here is this smoke. You get 2 minutes and 40 seconds of it for the whole 20 minutes. For the whole 20 minutes of the match, you get 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That's all you get. And you have to wait a certain amount of time before you can toggle it off and on, off and on. And I believe that's like 20 seconds. So it really is a very finicky consumable. Very finicky consumable. In the replay, you will see me run out of smoke. Since it was my first match, I did not even know how to use this consumable. So what I'm doing is I'm highlighting the consumable for you to kind of give you a little bit better sense. Now, ever since learning that, I've gotten a little bit better at playing the consumable. I've gotten a little bit better. Not entirely better, but I have to really be more considerate and really think of, what I'm going to do. Armor-wise, nothing special. 19 and then 25 and then, 13 for superstructure. HE susceptible. Now, hit point-wise, it's 21,000. Now, let's get into that real quickly for you. Let's go to Benson. Normal survivability expert is 350. Since I have Alexander Ovechkin on there, it is with the enhanced skill 400. So that is a significant amount of difference for HP. It's a very minute difference, but for this ship and other ships that do use this perk, this enhanced skill, it is a significant difference. And I don't believe there's many DD captains that can actually carry this skill for Americans. I know there's a lot of other lines that have it, but I believe for Americans, it's actually very few captains that have this skill. But as far as the build goes, we're running preventative maintenance, last stand, survivability expert, concealment, and adrenaline rush. Basically, the standard 13 skills. 13 points. Those are the first 13 points any DD captain should go for. Now, we do go for grease the gears because that does drop our 180 turn time to 12 seconds. That is still a significant amount. When we even just look at Garing, Garing's 7.2. So huge, it's considerable. That's a pretty decent, 180 time. Now, since we are running main battery expert AA, we do get the 20% range, which gives us 15 kilometers, which is basically Sherman range. and that does increase our dispersion to 119. So without it, you are going to go down below 119. Max sap damage is 3,000. That's really only if you get a Citadel. HE, again, if you only get a Citadel, odds are you're not going to be getting Citadels. Unless you're like Citadeling Akuma, basically. That's pretty much the only way you could probably get 3,000. But the guns, it has a 3.3 second reload. If you did take main battery AA, it would go down to 3 seconds. Again, that 0.2 really isn't going to make a huge difference. It might make a difference on the Akatsuki, where it's like 3 seconds and then, 2.8. That's a little bit of a difference, but not much. I would honestly rather you take main battery because you get that 2.5 light kilometer increased range, which is, considerable. It's a very considerable difference. Now, as far as the Torps go, the Torps are something else are really right about. They're 9 kilometers. They do 60 knots, but they do a whopping 15K in damage. These Torps hit hard when they hit. It will not take much to kill a ship with these, especially if you're doing solely tier 8 ops. You basically could almost one-shot most ships, if not significantly damage them. So these Torps will hit hard. The only downside is you only get 4 of them. So you get 4 Torp tubes, but you've got really decent good guns. Basically almost like cruiser guns, basically. And so what are you going to invest in? The guns or the torpedoes? Obviously you're going to invest in the guns. AA, it's really nothing to write home about. Again, you're doing Sherman speed, and you're doing a 3.3 second rudder shift with the steering gears on there. So I would recommend that considerably because let's just look at the turning circles. For Sherman, it's 6.8. Kid, 6.20. You are roughly in that range of DDs. So you're kind of sitting in between, but I would recommend taking this because it makes this significantly more different or easier. Plus, you're able to, wiggle and waggle if you're running away and you run out of smoke, which I believe you do see in the replay. Now, concealment-wise, it's 6.2. Akatsuki is 6.1. Kid is like 5.8, and I believe Cossack is 5.4 or 5.5. So it is a significant difference. You might think 0.4 or 0.6 may not seem like a lot, but competitive-wise, it really is. That's the difference between having early intelligence and making a huge difference in any battle. If it was tier 8 clan battles and you had an Osborne versus a Cossack, Cossack's going to win every time. You're going to have that extra spotting. I mean, that Osborne isn't going to be able to get into the cap. It can use its special consumable, being that 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And remember, that's only 2 minutes and 40 seconds of smoke for the entire 20 minutes. So that's significant. That's really significant. But I would honestly say for the overall, I would honestly really say, let's just say, I would honestly say I'm divided on this ship. I love it. I think it just looks great. I feel like it plays great. I think it'll be a decent little addition to the game. But I don't think it has that competitive edge to play operations. Compared to Kid, Sherman, Cossack, I think there are better tier 8 destroyers out there. I really do. I would even take Benson over this. I really would. I just think there are better destroyers out there than Osborne. But let's get into the replay so you can really see this ship function, because you really need to watch the replay entirely to really get an idea of how the ship plays and how to cope with making mistakes like I did for the first match of this ship. Welcome back, welcome back. We are in the new Tier 8 Early Access Destroyer Osborne with Team Mogami, Seattle, Northco, Iowa, WOWSOPERATIONSREPLAYS, and Los Andes. This ship is definitely very interesting. Quad 137mm guns and torp tubes that are 9 kilometers. So let's just hover over that for you. 9 kilometers. The tier 10 or the tier 9 gets 10 kilometers, and the tier 9 gets 10 kilometers. Tier 10 gets 10 and a half.
This is the base commander. We expect the arrival of transport and attack squadrons. Strike aircraft will ensure support during the embarkation and evacuation on transport aircraft. Warship commanders, clear the most direct route for the aircraft in the specified sectors.
And it does get a 2-minute and 40-second smoke. That is switched off and on. Once you run out of that 2 minutes and 40 seconds, you're gone. There's no smoke, and I learned that the hard way. It now gets SAP and HE, and it gets 3 engine boosts. But you see, it only gets 2 minutes and 40 seconds, so that timer is running out. So there isn't a lot of smoke to really deal with when you really think of it in 2 minutes and you're fighting for 20 minutes. And you see, I'm just kind of wasting it, honestly. Like, this was my first battle. I honestly thought the smoke was something different, so I had to kind of learn the hard way. I still make it work. Barely. And then you see I switch it off, it goes on cooldown for 20 seconds. I still have 1 minute and 40 left. So I used about 1 minute of smoke. And that's quite a bit. And like we're trying to get in torp range. We're trying. 9 kilometers does put us within Des Moines radar, so that is very dangerous. Like we should, and we do barely miss this torp. I was honestly thinking, well, if I take a torp, I'm going to be very pissed. And we should be within radar range about now. Well, it'll be coming on literally right about now. Right there it is, 10 kilometers, there's the radar. And I load SAP, and I start firing into the broadside of the Des Moines. But remember, I am still in radar, so I got basically all these battleships looking at me. And even though it's a Colorado, remember, Colorado is still extremely accurate. There's our smoke. Now, at this point, I should have just turned it off. But there it goes, I turn it off. I tried to get these torps on it. I probably could have got the torps on it, maybe. But and you do see though that as I'm maneuvering this ship, the guns are fairly slow. Like unless you've got all 4 going, you got a significant DPM disadvantage. I mean, it's bad. It is extremely bad. You literally need all 4 guns to run. Now, this is only 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Remember that once that smoke goes out, I'm out with that. I don't have any more smoke. So that's a significant disadvantage for me. Oh. I really should have, yeah, I really goofed up. Like, I only got 40 seconds left. I used 2 minutes of smoke already. So I'm kind of showing you that it really is very, it's difficult. It's difficult to use this ship without using your smoke. Now I should have, yeah, I could have had a couple more seconds there. I should have turned it off. Mogami does get deleted, unfortunately. Now we're trying to get some fires, and unfortunately, since it is also broadside, we're using sap. And once it's broadside, you know, our damage is going up pretty good. It's going up pretty good. But once we get that angle, then we have to kind of switch back to HE. Because you can see he is still slightly broadside, but at this point, I'm not going to get great sap angles, so I'm just going to switch to HE and use my HE. And I do feel very comfortable taking the increased range because I feel like it really is needed. Like, you really need it on this new line of destroyers because you're going to be sitting, it almost feels like I'm playing a Sherman or a Hull. Even though I don't have the Hull, it feels pretty similar to how I would be playing. Like, it just, and this is where I really am like, I get really scared because I'm in, now within 9 kilometers and I got radar on me. So I'm in a bad spot. I'm in a very bad spot. There goes our smoke. We only have 30 seconds left, and then we're out of smoke. And we do have 17 seconds left. The radar is gone, so we're able to escape for the most part. But we can't really shoot, because as soon as we shoot, we'll be targeted. And I am practically super close to detection anyway, so I'm like, you know, let's just shoot. Really probably didn't need the smoke there in hindsight. But I was going to get detected pretty much as soon as I came around this rock anyway. 2 seconds. And our smoke is gone. Like, we're out of smoke completely. So I made that smoke last 8 minutes. I've still got 12 minutes of battle left over that I've still got to fight without smoke. So that's a considerable challenge, especially for a ship in your first battle. You have absolutely no idea how to play this thing. And so you're basically learning on the fly. Like, I'm like, after I ran out of smoke, I was like, shit, I thought the smoke was different. So after this, I was like, okay, now I got to figure something out significantly fast because I'm like, I'm in a bad spot. I'm radared. I'm going to have to live within this radar range for a while. So I've got to just gun it and hope. Try to use my engine boost to try to help speed and dupe some of these shots and try to minimize the damage. And unfortunately, we beach. That probably does save us there from a salvo. And we are going to get 1 Torp, which is enough to pick up the kill. And we kind of have to fall back to the heal circle because we've got no HP left. So we've got to get some HP so we can figure out what to do next. Without any smoke, I'm thinking as I'm driving, I'm like, ugh, I've got maybe like one right engine boost left. And then I've got to figure something out. And I'm like, Because I was playing this, I was like, how am I going to actually get high up on the team? I've got no smoke, I can't be aggressive, I'm fighting a WOWSOPERATION and a Los Andes, and multiple battleships, and ships that are significantly better than me. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? But as you can see, that extra range really does give me fighting capability of really choosing my engagement. And I will really, and it's not tremendously bad to hard to lead. It's not terrible. It's not bad. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's not bad. If you're good at playing with Des Moines and having with those overall arching arcs of American cruisers, it's not a hard thing to get used to. It's not a hard thing to overcome. And I do firmly recommend you need the extra range on this ship. For the tier 9, I would just say take the reload module and just take AFT. Now, of course, the WOWSOPERATION is a WOWSOPERATION. We're not going to outdo a WOWSOPERATION, especially since he does have Lisboa on there. He's just a monster machine. I mean, it's very unlikely we're going to be able to beat him. Maybe beat the rest of the team, maybe. But looking at our damage, only 115. It's not the greatest. It really isn't. I mean, it's pretty. Honestly, it feels like tier level damage. Tier 8 level damage. It's not the best. It really isn't. And you do see, even at this range at 8 kilometers, I still have a pretty good shell arc. It's not really that flat. Meaning the WOWSOPERATION can just literally, as you can see, they're just nuking these DDs off the map before my shells even get there. And we're only at 17,000. We don't have our lower than like 3,000 more HP that we usually should have. So I'm like, it's very risky, incredibly risky pushing out here like this when you're fighting all of this. I do not recommend it, but I mean, I had to make something happen to get some damage. After playing this ship, I would honestly say that this ship is on, the smoke is literally just used to disengage and then re-engage. It's not an offensive tool. I would really change it around to not use it as an offensive tool. More as a defensive tool, honestly, in hindsight. But I mean, considering I'm open gunning against all of these DDs and everything, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. Now the main is a target, so we do decide to go after him. If we can get some fires on him, then we can get some damage. There's a fire. And I think that it was that a permanent? No, that was ETCP'd that one. And we've still got a Cleveland shooting at us. It's not the greatest focusing on a battleship when you got a main. Now we do get a double fire. I think when I saw that, I think I only thought I had one fire. So that's why I think I kept shooting it. But definitely really lucky to get the double fire. That really tanks up our damage. And we've crossed the 1 million damage tank. There's 3 fires on the main. And as you can see by our damage, we're going up at about 2,000 damage per second. It's going up pretty fast. And since it's a tier, 11 at this point, I'm gonna get some extra damage since I'm tier 8. I was really worried right here. Switch to sap, because then I can kind of go for his super structure and kind of get that angle. I still have that angle that I can get on him now. Unfortunately, we don't get that kill. But that does double our damage to 214 now. And if you're listening to all those, shall I say, I do have the Star Wars mod, command voiceover. And we're gonna open gun on these DDs, because remember, they're DDs. They're tier 9 and 11. So we're gonna get some good damage on these guys and really boost our damage up a little. Plus, it's also much easier considering the Valus Prowl is all the way south. So we're really the only ones that can shoot them. Pick up the Fletcher. And it looks like we're down to about a 2.6 second reload. Now, usually you think you want to use sap, but you did see at the very beginning when I was using sap, I would have to be like extremely close to use it. So I would only use HE for the most part. We get a permanent fire on the Annapolis. Double fire. Unfortunately, we're only going to get 7 seconds more of actual damage. And you think I could at least secure the kill. Nope. So 250 was our final damage. This was without, again, a bonus package or anything, so very low on the economic scale. Mainly, we're just highlighting the play style for you. We do end up taking second, though. Though, again, like I said, against the Valus Prowl, we weren't going to beat that. I mean, we weren't. But I would happily take a second. And we do see we did about 87,000 to that main. Like, we only got like 1 kill. Like, actually, wait, 3 kills. Or 4 kills, sorry. 4 kills. But you see, they were all extremely low health kills, not a significant amount. And then it was just kind of piecemeal damage all across the board. You're not going to be doing high alpha strike damages unless you're actively trying to find a way to use these torps. In hindsight, I probably could have, if I had been used the smoke more as a defensive weapon, I probably could have been more aggressive, ran in, used my smoke to use my torps, disengaged with my smoke, and then ran out. That would probably be more what I might think about doing as a hit and run. We still managed to make a profit even without an economic booster or anything. But the ship, it's not a bad ship. It's actually it's decent. I'm actually kind of looking forward for the tier 9 and 10 because of the double barrels. So those ones I figure, plus the longer range torps, will be considerably more useful. And they also get longer smokes also.